Hi, hope you're doing good. My name's Matt and welcome back to SuperCard Models, my channel. I'm working on the R34 Skyline build today. Last week's video, what I did was I attached the first cut of this rear quarter panel piece. And yeah, as I mentioned in the last video, it just didn't turn out quite as good as I wanted it to. There's definitely some issues with it. And what I want to do in this video is try and fix those issues. So I think the first thing to do is to remove that one from the car, which I hate doing. It's always really rough removing something from the car that you've already glued on, but you know, it's got to be done. I'll take that off and I'll work up a new design for that piece. I've been thinking about it and I think I've come up with an alternative design for how to construct it, and I'll talk you through what that idea is now. So I've realized that a big part of the problem is the fact that I've made this piece out of this kind of thick cardboard and tried to bend and shape that in place. Like the plan was to have this piece here like this, and then the final last body color piece out of thin card glued over the top of that. But I've realized that what I could probably do is just do away with this piece completely and just go straight to the final outer thinner card body colored piece instead. And because that piece will be thinner, actually I've done a test cut out of the thinner card here. This is 300 GSM card, and I'm planning on painting this the body color. And then what I can do is just fit that straight on instead of this thick cardboard. And because this is much thinner, it's just much easier to bend and will want to sit in the right kind of contour and shape that I want it to, as opposed to that thicker board. So that's the idea anyway. Just have this piece instead of the thick cardboard glued to the car. And what I might do is glue some kind of some reinforcement pieces to the back of it. Like I just did a really quick rough test, just gluing a 1000 GSM reinforcement piece along that bottom edge there, and that will hold that edge kind of straight and smooth, as opposed to being kind of wavy like it did here when I didn't have that. So yeah, that's the plan. Just have the 300 GSM outer body panel part with some reinforcement parts glued strategically in the right place on the back of that. And yeah, we'll see if that turns out any better and looks better as a final result. So before I can make that final rear quarter panel, what I want to do is take some sheets of this thinner card that I'm going to use for the final outer body panels outside and spray paint them. Just to give you a bit more background, I bought some A2 sheets of this 300 GSM Bristol card. This stuff is made by Arto, and it's a really beautiful, like smooth kind of quality artboard that I'm going to use, and I'm going to paint that the final body color. What I've decided to do for this first build is paint it Bayside Blue, which is a pretty popular and very common kind of color for the R34 GTRs. I think it's beautiful and it should look really good for this first build. What I did was I went to a paint shop in town. They mixed up some genuine TV2 Bayside Blue metallic into spray cans, so I can just spray the board, which is awesome. This is like a 1K kind of base coat though, sort of like a matte finish. So I've also bought some separate clear enamel that I'll paint over the top to make it shiny. So I'll do 2 coats of this Bayside Blue base coat, and I'll do 2 coats of the top shiny clear. And that will hopefully make some really beautiful, genuine Bayside Blue sheets of card that I can then cut the final body panels out of for the build. So yeah, I'll take that out and paint it. So wouldn't you know it, it's actually extremely windy here at the moment, and it's really not good conditions for being outside spray painting. So I think what I'll do is, while I wait for a better day to be out spray painting cardboard, I might actually just make a start on a different part on the car. So what I'll start with now is building a piece that goes around the outside of the door and the rear window, kind of like a piece that houses the rear window, and also all the window seals and the door seals as well. So I think it'll just be a single piece of card to start with. So yeah, I'll start drawing that up and we'll see how we go with that one. Alright, there's the first attempt at that part, kind of drawn up. I'll do my usual thing now where I print it out on paper first and just use that to kind of check how the size and the shape and everything is looking, and yeah, make any adjustments from there. So let's print it out. So as a first version, that's not too bad. I can see that it's a little bit too tall through the front kind of section of the roof here. So I need to make that a bit shorter. Maybe make a few changes to kind of the width of this of the A-pillar. But probably the main thing that's required is kind of a shape change to this bottom line here so that it will want to sweep up and curve around. It kind of curls in like that. It doesn't really want to with the shape that I've drawn into it right now. So yeah, I'll make a few changes, make a few tweaks, maybe iterate the part a few times, and yeah, get it fitting a little bit better. Alright, so I've worked a few more iterations of this part. I'm up to version number 3, and yeah, I'm getting the fit and the shape looking pretty good, starting to get there. But actually, sorry, I'm sort of jumping around a little bit, but I managed to get outside today, despite being a bit windy. I've got this sheet painted Bayside Blue. So that's 2 coats of Bayside Blue, base coat, and 2 coats of clear top coat. And it looks, look how good that looks, eh? Wow, looks amazing. So actually I might jump back into this rear quarter panel and yeah, start working out the changes for that and try and get the new part cut out of Bayside Blue. Awesome. So good news and bad news. Good news is I got that quarter panel part fitted, and yeah, generally it looks pretty good. I think better than the last version. But the bad news is there's one major flaw, and right there, if I get it just in the right angle, you can see there's kind of a flaw right in the middle. And what that is where kind of like the internal structural piece behind this part comes down. It's sort of like creased. When I glued this piece on top of that, it's creased that into the quarter panel part, and it looks quite bad. Which is a real shame, because otherwise that part looks really, really nice. The Bayside Blue looks awesome. But yeah, that's not good enough. It's really obvious, and I don't like it. So that means that's gonna have to come off, and I'm gonna have to do it again and make a few tweaks to make sure that same kind of crease problem doesn't happen again. So you've seen me kind of do the process of fitting the quarter panel just now already. So I'm gonna do the new version off camera. You don't need to see me do the same process over again. So I'll see you shortly when I've fitted the new part, and wish me luck. All right, success. So third time lucky. Looks good. It's real good now. I sorted out the issue where you know, the inside kind of structural piece was creasing, the outer body work. So yeah, really happy with that now finally. Awesome. There's still just that one issue where this kind of corner here wants to lift a bit because of the tension that the board's under when it gets folded into this shape. So yeah, there's not really anything I can do about that, unfortunately. So I'm just going to have to work with that. It's not too bad, it's not great, but actually, like on the real car, this corner here, the profile or the radius of this corner is a bit more like that anyway. It just doesn't kind of lift up a little bit like it's wanted to do there, but that's all right. I think the next part that I'll make is kind of the filler piece that goes between this piece and this piece here. You can see there's a bit of a gap there where the rear quarter panel on the GTR flares out really aggressively. So I need to work out the exact shape for that piece, and then I can just cut that out and glue it on, hopefully. You can see that I've built on this kind of row of tabs that attaches to the back of this part of the quarter panel, and I can glue this filler part onto those tabs. So should be fairly straightforward. It's just working out, you know, getting the shape of that piece exactly right, and then I can cut that out and fit it, as I say. So I'll get busy on that one now. Awesome, so there's that center section of the rear quarter panel all done and in place. That turned out really, really good. Man, that looks really clean. It did take quite a few tries. I sort of iterated the part quite a few times. There's like the test paper cut like template pieces that I made. So I did quite a few of those just to make sure I got the contours of the edges of that, you know, fitting just right. But it was worth the time and the effort for sure. Turned out really good. Basically, I designed like a kind of a two-piece or like a two-layered design. So there's a piece of like card underneath there with some tabs, and then the outer Bayside Blue piece just glues on top of that. And that worked out really well. Cool. So next what I might do is make a small piece that goes around the tail light. So there'll be a Bayside Blue piece that fits over the top like that. And yeah, it should be fairly quick and easy to draw up, cut out a Bayside Blue and fit in place. So I'll do that one now. All right, excellent. There's those first few final outer body panels in Bayside Blue all done in place and they look really good. Nice, so that's probably all I've got time for in this video. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna get stuck into, I think like probably the front end because it's looking a bit neglected this week. So check out next week's video to see how I get on working on some of the front end panels. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you again next week.